Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our e-learning webinar. Today presenting, we have Learning Services Manager Rachel Gill from Bytes Software Services, and we also have Emil Reisser-Weston, Head of e-learning from elearning WMB. Just going to run through some quick housekeeping with you all. So during the webinar you will be muted, but if you do have any questions you'd like to submit at any time, there is a questions box on the right hand side of your screen, so if you'd like to just pop that in there, there will be some time at the end. We'll have the Q&A after the presentations are finished, and we can read out any questions that you might have. Just to let you know that the webinar will be recorded and this will be made available to all of you shortly afterwards. And please, if you could complete the critique form at the end of the webinar, that'd be much appreciated, and we can get your feedback just so we know exactly, how you felt that it went. I'm just going to hand over now to Rachel Gill from Bytes Software Services, and she's going to introduce the webinar and talk about Bytes and the relationship with VLearning WMB. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody. My name is Rachel Gill. I'm the Learning Services Manager at Bytes Software Services. What I want to do now is just to give you a brief overview about Bytes services. Bytes Software Services are one of the largest dedicated software teams in Europe. We were founded in 1982. Revenues in excess of 194 million, with approximately 250 staff over 5 locations. Bytes has had continued yearly growth over this period, and we are one of the leading cloud specialists. We have over 2,000 happy current customers. Just now briefly summarise our Bytes learning services. As one of our UK largest licensing authorised resellers, we want to help our customers get the most out of the software they purchase by offering training solutions for both technical support and end user training. We are a well-established team with over 20 years training experience. We pride ourselves on our unrivaled customer service. We are independent, so we will always offer you more choice. We help source training for our customers nationwide or global, specialising in desktop migrations. We offer customers easy access to all forms of training, from public training, bespoke customised training when off-the-shelf doesn't fit, plus a choice of e-learning online materials. Today's webinar is to introduce VLearning, a completely interactive, engaging new tool within learning and development arsenal. It's adaptable, accessible, and even be deployed on tablets and mobiles, a real benefit in the ever-widening work environment. I'd like now to hand over to Emil, who from elearning WMB, who will demonstrate this fantastic tool. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rachel. I'm just going to share my screen with you, and you should be able to see that now. This presentation is on e-learning just learnt a new trick. What I'm going to show you today is hopefully something completely new to you in e-learning. It will be shared with my virtual video self as well as myself in voiceover mode, and you'll see what I mean by if I press the green next button.
Hello, my name is Emil Reisser-Weston. I'm the Managing Director of elearning WMB. This presentation is all about our company and the range of services we are offering through Bytes. Today I will outline 4 unique things in e-learning which I feel you cannot and should not be without for your next e-learning project. Do feel free to ask me any questions as I proceed through this presentation.
Okay, and before I start the presentation, just want a quick word about how it's been made. All our e-learning and our presentations are made using our own software, Jackdaw Cloud. It's a cloud-based authoring system. More about that later. We produce our presentations using Jackdaw Cloud because it's a better production tool than PowerPoint. With the last 7-8 years, we've had this tool out. We're producing all our presentations using it, and we've yet to see any other e-learning companies do the same. So you can draw from that what you will. But I'll just pass you over to my virtual self again.
This presentation can be seen in Flash, HTML5 and Asana, and they look pretty much identical in all three formats. All versions have been made as one process, then exported from the same source files into one of these three formats at the press of a button.
Okay, so moving on to the presentation. What I'm going to show you is 4 reasons why I believe eLearning WMB, in conjunction with Bytes, is the best solution for producing e-learning. The first one, which Rachel mentioned earlier, and is the most important, is VLearning, or corporate video meets e-learning approach to producing online training. What we're talking about is not just putting videos inside e-learning, but totally integrating the two, the video and the e-learning as one medium. Jackdaw Cloud. Jackdaw Cloud is our cloud-based authoring system for producing the VLearning. Authoring in the cloud brings a whole host of advantages over traditional software-based authoring tools, and I will advance on that later on in the presentation. HTML5, all our courses are compliant with HTML5, so we produce one source, as I mentioned before, and that can be exported as HTML5, Flash, or Synap, with no sacrifice to moving to this new technology. And finally, apps. All our e-learning is available as apps, and there are great advantages of using apps on mobiles in that you can do the training online as well as offline. And there's various other things as well, which I will go into when we talk about the advantage of producing apps as your e-learning. Okay, so we'll start off with VLearning. VLearning, or video learning, what is it? As I said before, what we do is we totally integrate the video into the e-learning. So here we have a video presenter shot in front of a green screen. We then effectively cut him out and can put him into our video setting. This leads to really good transfer training because you can actually set the training inside your work environment. I don't want you to think that this is just a video presentation though, because we can have all sorts of virtual interactions involved with the e-learning as well. So here we've got some three-dimensional boxes which you can throw around. We have buttons you can click on, pathways you can go down, quizzes, virtual books you can turn the pages on. We try to build on this idea that we're working in a three-dimensional environment with depth by adding in three-dimensional tools in there. So you've got this idea that you're working in a virtual learning world, a virtual world with depth where things can appear in the foreground, the background, as opposed to a two-dimensional PowerPoint presentation. And there's important reasons for doing that from a cognitive psychology point, which I can expand on later. Okay, so VLearning, we produce it. Do we need it? Why do we need it? The answer to that is essentially can be found in the effectiveness of the e-learning. In a recent CIPD e-learning study in 2016, it found that although 75% of organizations were making use of e-learning, within those organizations, only 3 in every 9 people were actually carrying out the e-learning. And what's probably more shocking is that of those 3, only 1 of those was completing the e-learning. Obviously, people aren't getting engaged by the learning, the online learning that they're receiving. So we believe there's a better way of producing e-learning, which is what VLearning is all about.
We have done a number of independent studies, and when asked, we have never experienced approval rates below 98%. That is, 246 out of 250 respondents said they found this an effective way of learning, with nobody answering negatively. Now that's a really high proportion. We're used to seeing this figure in the 60 to 70% region for good projects with old-style e-learning. This is a step change improvement caused by unique development methodology.
So I believe this reason alone, the fact that the e-learning we produce is effective, should warrant re-examining using our methodology for producing e-learning. But there are other great reasons as well, and I'll go on to expand on those now. But before I do, just a quick word about the price. What we're producing looks very sophisticated, very expensive, very pricey, high production values, etc. The fact of the matter is, though, it is cheaper than traditional e-learning. Now, the reason for that is if you were to produce a cartoon, although it's more simple to look at than a video presentation, the video is actually cheaper to produce because we're using film and video production techniques which are very quick. The same principle can be applied to VLearning. We have a green screen studio, we have a camera, we have templates, we have standard interactions. The whole system is produced to very quickly turn around e-learning. A traditional e-learning project would take 12 weeks to produce. We can do it in 2 to 3 weeks because our production processes are much quicker. As a result, the spend is a lot less as well. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a better, more effective way of e-learning, but at a lower price. Okay, reason number 2, Jackdaw Cloud.
Okay, so we believe we produce e-learning that is totally unique. So to do this, we need to employ an equally unique authoring and content management system. That system is called Jackdaw Cloud. As the name suggests, the software is accessible online, so anyone with permission can edit the content wherever they are, without the need to download software or obtain a software license.
So what are the benefits of using a cloud-based system for authoring your e-learning? First of all our courses are customizable. So whether you purchase a course off the shelf or you have us produce one for you, we give you the Jackdaw Cloud software for customizing and editing the content after delivery. This is very important. For instance, if you've got an induction program and your financial director changes or your company logo changes or you have a new location added to your company portfolio, all that stuff can be updated using Jackdaw Cloud. Secondly, speed. The speed of making edits is the same as editing an online document. You just call it up and type directly into Jackdaw Cloud. This is so much quicker and so much needed in a high-paced, fast-moving business environment. This compares to if you wanted to make a change, you'd need to contact the supplier, get them to make a change, upload the change onto your web server. It would take a long time to do. Using this process, changes can be done within a matter of minutes. Thirdly, no software is needed, so there's no need to get IT involved to install software onto your machine. Basically, just go to the URL, go to the cloud, and start editing. It's password controlled, so you have control over the system, but you can give control to use Jackdaw Cloud to anyone you want to within your organization. And finally, as I mentioned before, there's no charge for using the software. So if you purchase a course, you get Jackdaw Cloud free of charge for editing the content. So in effect, all our e-learning is entirely customizable by yourself once you've purchased it. Normally I'd give you a demonstration of Jackdaw Cloud at this moment, but just to show you quickly, I'll just drag this onto screen. This is the presentation that we've been carrying out for you, and here it is in Jackdaw Cloud format. If we wanted to add a new screen, we can just press the new template button, select a screen from the templates. Here, for instance, we've got the falling blocks one I showed you earlier, and it loads in the presentation again with this new template added to the presentation. It's just loading the videos in as I speak. And just to show you that happening, should have really choose a smaller course we're doing this with, so I haven't got so many videos in it. But here you can see we've got a new template added, and these are menu items which you can throw around the screen, but it just gives us an idea of three-dimensionality. And if we wanted to edit any of the content in here, we can effectively edit the content, change images, add blocks by just copying and pasting. It's a very easy interface to use, and it'll take you about 10 minutes to learn, and once you've done that, you can start appending to the e-learning, editing it, etc. So I'll just close that down. Okay, so the next reason why we use e-learning is HTML5.
Another big advantage of using eLearning WMB is that all our courses, as I've mentioned earlier, can be exported as HTML5. Being HTML5 compliant is now the biggest issue in the e-learning industry, with the majority of legacy content being Flash-based. Browsers such as Google and Firefox have already indicated they are dropping features of the plugin, and businesses such as Microsoft and Amazon have already started. We are already seeing this being a problem. For example, the board of one of our largest clients all use Surface computers from Microsoft, which now no longer runs Flash on the latest models. Not having Flash means that if you have e-learning content that is Flash-based from software such as Storyline, Articulate and Captivate, it will very soon be redundant.
So the question we need to ask is what would happen if we were to do nothing? What if we left our e-learning as it is in a Flash-based format from software such as Articulate and Captivate? Well, effectively, your business users shouldn't have a problem initially because they would have a standard computer build, but home users would very soon start ringing up and complain that their e-learning doesn't work. Now, whether the plugins supported or not supported in the browser due to software upgrades wouldn't really matter to them. All they would see is that their e-learning does not work. And very soon you'll be having to decommission the e-learning and create new e-learning in HTML5.
Now, unfortunately, the problem with this new technology is that the e-learning industry has gone backwards in order to develop courses using it. New systems have been developed which are largely unambitious in their scope with what they can produce. I will go over the two widely used existing design methods using HTML5 production and then demonstrate by way of example how ours differs.
Okay, the first methodology we call scrollable content, where the e-learning is produced very much similar to a web page. It's as if an e-learning producer said to an HTML5 programmer, produce me an HTML5 authoring system that is the most simplest thing to produce. And this is very similar to standard HTML5 authoring systems that produce web pages. Now, the problem with this is it's what we call low on immersion. It's not getting the user involved in the content. It's similar to if we were to induct new hires into our company by just sending them to our web page and saying, this is our company, you're now ready to go. This compares with actually taking people into the company, introducing them to members of the company, showing them around the organization. It's a far more immersive way of doing e-learning. It's a far better way of doing e-learning too. The other methodology is what we call the PowerPoint presentation style. Now, this is obviously because it looks very similar to a PowerPoint presentation with next and previous buttons on either side. Now, the disadvantage of this is it is dull. Users very quickly get turned off and lose interest in the presentation. Now, this compares to involving them in a more interactive e-learning. What we do is we take all our content, as I said before, and export it into a Flash HTML5 from one single source into all these different mediums. So we don't sacrifice any of the interactivity and engagement that we have in our e-learning by moving to HTML5. So we create what is known as HTML5 of the future, with no compromises. So the e-learning that you see in Flash from us is the same as the e-learning that we produce in HTML5. We haven't taken the medium and saying, okay, well, how can we produce it in the quickest and cheapest way possible? But instead, we've said how we can produce HTML5 e-learning in the best way possible. And this is an example of a course which we did for Unilever recently in using HTML5. I'm just going to show you a few examples now of some of the content we produced before.
So, whether you went to Albert Square or Weatherfield, we've learned a little more about our community, discovered some vital statistics, and discussed what would make you want to live within this area. But let's take this a stage further. Let's ask ourselves...
I'm just going to skip through a few elements of this.
That's it. You can click on any section and I'll take you through what Places for People can provide to support it.
So you can see we've got buttons in the same way you'd have in traditional e-learning, going through various
The
different
health and
pathways.
well-being of a community is crucial to its sustainability. PFP Leisure joined the Places for People group in 2013. PFP Leisure work in partnership with local authorities to provide leisure activities and facilities which are at the heart of the community. Their diverse range of innovative programs have been carefully tailored to promote community engagement, social interaction and healthy lifestyles. PFP Leisure currently operate...
Okay, enough of that, but you can see how we've used humour to assist with e-learning.
Immersion in the content is vital when we are wanting to show people how to do something that needs to be applied to their own place of work. In this example we did for Unilever, you can see how the user can follow the instruction, applying what they have learned directly to their workstation in a just-in-time basis. There's almost no need to actually learn the content. Now let's look at the positioning of your monitor. Your monitor should be positioned directly in front of you and not at an angle.
You can see here how we're combining video content with animation content to produce a completely integrated multimedia learning presentation. Check that your monitor or monitors are approximately an arm's length away. Stretch your hand forward in your natural seating posture, and you should just touch the screen. So are you now able to adjust both the height and distance of the monitor correctly? Here is another example with comedian David Schneider showing how we can create virtual learning environments.
The great thing about that lot is that we've developed our own software which makes it very easy to produce e-learning with video presenters and virtual learning worlds. Oh. Our software makes it very easy to put courses together. Tasks such as changing the e-learning environment can be done in seconds. This means we can produce better, more relevant training, but also we can do it at a lower cost than the competition. A lower cost, yeah? Oh, and you can change the environment as many times as you like.
And of course we combine the immersive content and virtual learning environment to create something totally unique to your organisation, which is instantly customizable and available in any format. Okay, here we can see an example environment which could reflect your organisation. And should that environment change, then it can easily be updated. Text can be altered as time goes on using Jackdaw Cloud.
This was obviously a demonstration done for an airline, but you can see how we can just change elements of the background without having to change the whole thing or reshoot the whole thing. So that, for instance, in this example, the airline can have cabin crew training that doesn't involve having to shoot an entire video, again, at a given location. It's very good for skills-based training, as we showed you before with the computer workstation setup training. So basically the presenter can demonstrate activities and the learner can either copy them or learn from those. The great advantage of HTML5 is obviously it can run on any medium, from mobile phone to laptop. However, with mobile e-learning, we advise using apps, and that leads us on to the next advantage of that we bring to the table. Okay, apps. We believe they are the future of mobile learning. To see why this is, we have to have a look at the wider learning environment. Currently, e-learning on mobile phones is mostly taken care of using HTML5 web pages, and we're going to show you why this, we believe, is the wrong way to produce e-learning. Our e-learning can work as HTML5 web pages, but apps have far greater advantages over doing e-learning in a browser. To see why this is, if we have a look at the wider e-learning environment, the only business area I can see doing e-learning via HTML5 web pages is search. So here we can see you can do searches using Google and search the internet using the internet browser on a mobile phone. All other businesses, such as, for instance, if you wanted to look for a house, you could use the Rightmove app. If you wanted to play media, you'd go to the BBC iPlayer app or the Netflix app. Or if you wanted to sell your worldly possessions, you go to the eBay app. Basically, businesses much larger than our own are using apps. Now, why is this? Why are they using apps? Why aren't they using the HTML5 technology that e-learning industry has been so avid to take up for the mobile? Now, the reason is apps have many advantages. Firstly, is users are used to accessing data in this way. When you pick up your mobile phone, you'll see it's populated with many different apps, which is what you use to access services on your mobile phone. Secondly, since all content is stored on the apps, then it's very easy to stream data. Our stuff is quite media rich. Each app is on average 50 megabytes. Now, if you just stream that online to have media rich data through HTML5 web pages, then the user would get very annoyed because they'd see their data allowance used up, bandwidth would get used up. It's just not a very effective way of running e-learning, just due to interruptions in connectivity, etc. And this leads us on to the third advantage of using apps, is that you can run and record data offline. So this is the nature of truly mobile learning. If you're on a train, you go into a tunnel, if you're on a tube, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you can still do your e-learning. And that's a very important aspect of mobile learning. If you're doing a mobile learning and you're relying on an internet connection and that breaks for 1 second, then your e-learning will stop. And that's going to lead to a huge amount of dissatisfaction from your e-learning users. And that's why we recommend apps.
We sincerely believe at eLearning WMB that we are the best e-learning proposition available globally. We offer VLearning, a type of e-learning that's unrivaled effect at its levels. The e-learning is editable in the cloud and uniquely free to do so. All course content is future-proof, ready for the browser transition to HTML5, which we are already experiencing. And finally, apps. We believe are the future of e-learning. They allow e-learning to be carried out anytime and in any location, regardless of an internet connection. This represents true mobile learning. But there are other reasons to select us for your next project, and I'll go through them now.
Okay, just very quickly. Some more advantage of using eLearning WMB through Bytes. Firstly, we have nearly 100 courses available for you, all using the VLearning technology. So whether you want to use the construction design management, health and safety regulations, or working at height, or HR training, we've got a variety of training courses available to you, a bespoke service as well. So if you wanted bespoke e-learning, we can produce that for you in an unparalleled speed and very cost effective. If you're interested in both bespoke and off-the-shelf and all our e-learning services, such as the use of Jackdaw Cloud for producing e-learning and a learning management system, if you don't have one already, then we produce a membership service. And that membership service bundles this all together. So with that, we produce 3 bespoke courses for you every year, an unlimited amount of generic courses. So say, for instance, you wanted a course on food safety. We don't have that in our library. We will produce that for you free of charge, as well as all the tools and services you need, including support for an e-learning system. Finally, our expertise, all our e-learning is produced in the UK in a single office. So if you ring up the office for support, you'll get through to the same team that produce the e-learning and manage the back-end systems. So our support service is very knowledgeable, and we take great pride in being able to always answer your questions on our software. Also, because we produce the authoring system as well as have learning management system knowledge, we have a completely holistic solution to your e-learning support, so we don't need to go to other suppliers to get information.
We like to think we take a lead in the e-learning industry, developing courses and systems that we know that works, unconstrained by the limitations found in the industry standard authoring systems. We've been using this innovative approach since 1993, pioneering many of the now adopted standards found in e-learning, such as HTML5, mobile apps, and VLearning. Do let us know how we can work with you to produce e-learning that will meet and exceed your expectations.
Okay, apologies for the right-click fiasco that went on earlier, but I will pass you back to Amy, and thank you very much for listening to this presentation.
Thank you very much, Emil, and thank you for your presentation. Do we have any questions from anybody? Let's just have a little look. No, none that I see at the moment. If you do have any at this time, you can just pop them into the questions box on the right-hand side of the screen. Alternatively, if you do think of any questions later on, you are interested in knowing more about the platform, then please email rachel.gill@bytes.co.uk and we'll get a response over to you as soon as possible. Thank you for your time, and as we said, the recording will be made available. And thank you for joining us today on this session. Have a great day.